Welcome back to The Advocate. In our last episode, I had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Yanique Rolingson, and in our rich conversation, we discussed dissonance that can exist between home and school, especially in the ways schools communicate with families. We talked about how parents often feel intimidated, unsure if their voices matter, and how advocacy is frequently something families are forced to learn in moments of conflict rather than through true partnership. Today, I want to continue that conversation by sharing a real story, one that helps us examine the difference between communication and understanding, and what advocacy can look like when we intentionally hold space for both. Let's go.
Dr. Kristi Love is an experienced educator and advocate dedicated to empowering students and families to ensure children receive a high-quality education. She specializes in culturally responsive teaching, restorative practices, and social-emotional learning, helping schools create supportive and inclusive environments. Through the Advocate podcast, she amplifies voices, challenges inequitable systems, and keeps children at the center of every conversation.
So, around the holidays, one of my friends shared a post on social media that deeply resonated with me. I want to read her words exactly as she wrote them because it's important that parents are heard in their own voices. She wrote, "Today they had Christmas lunch at Kaiser's school. I submitted the form specifying that I wouldn't eat, but would be attending. Thinking the tickets were food-based, I didn't send the payment. They sent an email one day after the deadline informing me I couldn't attend without a ticket. So I mentioned my note on the form, but they told me no again and said I could just eat with him some other time. I was not a happy parent at the thought of my child sitting at school watching his peers eat lunch with their parents and I not being present. So instead of continuing to be upset, I checked him out and we enjoyed lunch together. People don't understand the mental state of children not having their parents attend things, but I do. And mine will never have to carry that feeling." Now let's pause right there. This was a parent who communicated clearly and still wasn't heard. She followed the process, she explained her intent. What was missing wasn't communication, it was understanding. When we talk about policies, we often forget who experiences them most directly. Guess who? You're right, the children. Children don't understand deadlines, ticket policies, or procedures, but they do understand presence and they do understand absence. Kaiser wouldn't have thought, my mom can just eat with me another day. He would have felt, everyone else's parent is here and mine isn't. As an educator, I've seen how moments like this stay with children. One instance of perceived absence can quietly plant a belief that they don't matter. So when she said, mine will never have to carry that feeling, she was naming something many families understand deeply, even when systems do not. That was advocacy, a deliberate act of love, a decision to protect her child emotionally. This story reflects something Dr. Rolingson and I discussed. Advocacy doesn't always look like confrontation. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's strategic. Sometimes it's simply choosing your child. Mom didn't argue endlessly. She didn't demand an exception. She made a decision rooted in care. And that matters. Especially for parents who already feel intimidated by school systems. Advocacy doesn't require aggression, it requires clarity about what your child needs. And I want to pause here because I understand this frustration personally. Just this week, I opened an email inviting parents to coffee and donuts with the administrator at my son's school at 8:30 in the morning. It was a kind and cute invitation, a well-intentioned one. But I couldn't go. Not because I don't care, not because I'm disengaged, but because, like many parents, my workday will have already started. This is the disconnect we have to talk about. Schools may be communicating, but without understanding the lived realities of families, those invitations can unintentionally exclude the very people they're meant to include. And consider this. Not every parent can check their child out of school. Kaiser is blessed. Not every parent has flexible work hours. Not every parent has transportation or the financial margin to absorb added costs. So when situations like this arise, we must ask a broader question. Who else is impacted by this policy? This is where advocacy shifts from personal protection to collective responsibility. When we talk about access, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Many of the tools already exist. We just have to be willing to use them with families in mind. That might look like offering virtual or hybrid meetings so parents don't have to choose between work and involvement. Recording PTA meetings and posting them on school website. Live streaming performances, assemblies, and sporting events so children still feel supported when parents can't physically attend. Providing virtual tutoring or academic support when after-school transportation isn't available. These aren't conveniences. They're bridges. They communicate to families, we see you. We know you're trying, and we're willing to meet you halfway. I've seen what responsiveness can look like. In Title I schools, family engagement is not just encouraged, it's required. At one school where I worked, leadership understood that families wanted to be involved, but access was the barrier. So meetings were scheduled on the same evenings as student performances. Parents could come once, see their child, attend the meeting, and still meet work and family demands. That intentionality changed everything. Attendance increased. Engagement increased. Trust increased. That's what happens when schools design engagement with families, not just for them. You go, Dr. Nicole Williams. So for parents wondering where to begin, sometimes the most powerful tool is a well-placed question. How does this policy impact working families? What options exist for families who cannot afford additional costs? How are families who speak languages other than English supported? Was parent input considered when this policy was created? What flexibility exists when a policy unintentionally harms a child's experience? These questions aren't about confrontation. They're about accountability. And for educators and school leaders, reflection is just as critical. We must ask ourselves, who benefits most from this policy and who is burdened by it? Are we mistaking parent absence for parent disengagement? Let's stop right there. That's an important one. Oftentimes, schools complain about parents showing up, but they don't give them the opportunities to do so? Are we designing systems for convenience or for access? Have we sought feedback from families who are least represented? Especially in communities of historically marginalized populations, responsiveness is not optional, it's essential. So as I close, advocacy is not either or. It is protecting your child and working to change systems. Sometimes we step back to care for our own, and sometimes we step forward so others don't face the same barriers. Communication without understanding is incomplete. Understanding without action is insufficient. In our next episode, you'll hear directly from a mother who is also an educator, who is also one of my former students. She's going to share with us her journey navigating school spaces with her son, who has autism. This conversation is not about labels. It's not about compliance. It's about understanding, especially when judgment comes faster than compassion. As you listen, ask yourself, what assumptions do I bring into school spaces? What behaviors do I judge because I don't yet understand them? And how might schools feel different if understanding came before policy? Because communication without understanding is just noise. But understanding, hey, that's where advocacy begins. Until next time, keep asking the hard questions, keep showing up for children, and keep advocating, because children deserve adults who won't stop fighting for them.